Hi, everybody. Welcome. And here we are again. This time, Miss Corinne Mooney, all the way from Arizona, Mesa, Arizona, and me, Anne, all the way from Greece today, from Rhodes. It's nice here,
Yes.
actually. And to be honest, I have to pop a joke here. It's not the 1st of April, so I'm not kidding. It's actually warmer in Sweden. Would you believe that? But anyway, we have Wednesday, April 2nd in US and Europe. And you are watching the Cosmic Sis-Stars show with Anne and Corinne. And today we will talk about casual conversation and critical juncture, plus your questions. And if anyone would ever like a mini reading, I always say that. But I figured that we are talking about interesting things. So no one actually did request that. We are both professionals in that way. So anyway,
Yes.
and our last show on Cosmic Guardians was last week. That was March 26th in US and Europe. And we talked about embracing freedom, the power of surrender and release. Plus, we shared 1 year together on air. So we
Mm.
celebrated that too. And that is a bliss. You know, how fast time goes, right?
Yes. It's amazing.
Yes. So we had a little bit of a hiccups streaming on Facebook last week. We made it exactly as usual on YouTube, but you can find us. I have actually put a comment underneath the videos. I'm going to check in a little bit to see where we are heading on Facebook. But you find us on Angel Place on Earth at YouTube, and if you can see, I'm going to post the link in a bit here. So you can connect with us, find upcoming shows, past episode, read articles, find Miss Corrine and find me at angelplaceonearth.com/cosmic guardians. And you can find upcoming and past episodes at angelplaceonearth.com/coming-past. And we always go live at facebook.com/cosmic guardians if we don't have a hiccups, right? Or
Correct.
you or and yeah, I should say and youtube.com/ at angel place on earth. So now you can find us, right? And it's wonderful to be here with you. And how are you doing, Miss Kareem?
I'm doing better and better every day. And this is what life is all about is experiencing the little glitches and glitches and being resilient enough to come back from that. And I think we're going to be doing a talk later on about the resilience of coming back. So it's this is going to be a great conversation today, I'm sure.
It's always exciting, right? And I think we actually managed to be live on. I did everything I could, but I did that last week too. But I think we are. Let's see, we are live. No, we're not. Oh, I don't know why. Anyway, um, so we are on Facebook. I'm just going to put in something here where you can find us on YouTube if you want to watch us because we are streaming perfectly on YouTube. Um, okay, here we go. Sorry for this. I don't know what's going on with Facebook. And plus, they are removing videos or lives that are older than 30 days.
Ah,
I received a message they were supposed to start doing that in July, but they started already. So find us live on YouTube at so here we go. Anyway, let's move forward
okay.
with everything. I always love our conversations, right? So it's basically about words again, isn't it? How we
Hmm.
express ourselves and what we are saying, how we meet each other, how we socialize, what we are telling someone else. And
Correct.
I find casual conversation and critical juncture kind of intriguing in that sense, right?
Yes.
So, would you love to start?
I I would. Thank you. I just want to ask all of these critical encounters that we have that seem so casual. Um, are they really a part of an intricate divine timing so vast that we're completely unaware of the moving parts that bring us into play? And it's like the Celestine prophecy, which we'll be talking about later, and it speaks of a random synchronicity of this chance conversation. Maybe it's a friend,
Yeah,
maybe it's a stranger, maybe it's a book that draws your attention, maybe it's a song that triggers your imagination. But are these given to us as an opportunity to divert and move away from the current path that we're on? Or are they just casual encounters that well, that person said that, and and learning how to be that attentive listener. Uh, this is how we're going to find our navigation through life.
yeah. And if one is open, and I'm kind of someone who I'm talking all the time. I say it in Italian to be funny,
Oh
parlare
yes.
all the time, right? So I know just before I left Sweden, for instance, I had a friend uh, bringing me from one place to another place. And of course, he put me at a table because I'm walking good, but I'm not walking that much because we had some other errands to do as well. So he
Yes.
placed me at a table. And when he came back 10 minutes later, I was in conversation with someone. Of course, right?
We
Because
never meet strangers, you know.
no, and I think that it's not also coincidences. It doesn't always mean that we have to talk to everybody, but we're going to sense it from within, right? And it's
Yes.
nice to meet people. And these days, when everybody's looking at their phones, not paying attention too many times that there are other people around,
Right.
it's nice to see someone else. It's kind of a confirmation for both parties, right?
It is. And is it too far to stretch the imagination that when we set up our experience on Earth, that we kind of put these players in place to show up at our critical junctions where we're in chaos or where we're trying to make a decision, and someone just casually says the sky is blue, and you go, oh, well, that's why I'm seeing things this particular way. And learning to be attentive in your listening and not taking it personally and not making assumptions, that gives you an opportunity to hear information and discern it from a higher level. And but isn't it wonderful to have that casual conversation that you go, aha, now it gave me a different perspective. Now
Yeah,
I can look at it from another angle. And what a great wonderful way that was set up so that humanity can actually move forward by giving each one of the
exactly.
players a little nudge, you know?
Yes. Plus, when you talk to other people, you always get a different way of perception, seeing things,
Yes.
a different perspective.
And when we're in the midst of a crisis or midst of decision making, and it seems so chaotic and out of control, we don't really comprehend how valuable that conversation you had with that person was, because we're in it. we're in the loop.
Yeah.
But occasionally, if you just take the time to look back over the scenario after you're out of the woods and say, wow, when that person came along and just said those kind words to me, I made a different direction move. And now look where I am. And go back and bless the times that you've had these encounters. And
Yeah.
we'll also have the encounter where we think everything is blissful and wonderful. And just in conversation, somebody will say, oh, by the way, such and such and such. And you go, oh, well, maybe there is something I need to look into. So it comes in both ways. It comes, I really feel that everything that comes to us does come when we're at that critical juncture.
Yeah, exactly. And it is interesting because I added something to your wonderful article that's written from you, a note. So the phrase casual conversation and critical juncture suggests the idea that seemingly ordinary or casual conversations can have profound impacts on our lives,
Very
right?
much so. Very much so.
Especially at special occasions and moments in time, right? A
Hmm.
critical juncture refers to an important turning point or decision-making moment where the trajectory of our lives can change significantly. So, when we talk about guidance and when we try to follow guidance in our life, one way is actually to listen to what people are saying. Sometimes they just say something that makes total sense for me or
Correct.
you. Uh, but maybe they don't even thought of saying it, but they say it. So
Yes.
it's like a message coming through.
I was, yes, I was just going to say that. Um, the messenger. And that doesn't mean by any stretch of the imagination that we make our decisions on what everybody thinks and what everybody says, because that's kind of got us into a lot of the messes we're in.
Yes,
But that is listening with discernment, speaking with discernment, being the master of your words. I mean, a lot of times when we're in a playful situation or casual, we'll just blurt things out. And this is the humanity that we are also. However, if you start paying attention to the present moment, you're going to be amazingly guided in a direction that you might not have even perceived. And
exactly.
just allowing that.
Allowing to get a new angle of things, a new
Correct.
perception. That's going to, if it means that it's something you is good for you to consider, it's going to resonate with you. That's
Yes.
how you can distinguish what to do, right? But I've encountered many times when people they just say things that, oh, did I say that? I had no intention of saying that, but it meant
Yes.
something very important to me.
Yes. And I'll take that just a little step further. Um, in my experience, there have been many, 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 many times, especially when I'm coaching someone or I'm in a session or teaching a class, and years later, weeks later, somebody will come up and say, wow, when you said such and such and such, and I'm going, well, there is no way that I would have used that phrasing or used that intent, because I value the fact that I speak with discernment. But that is how they interpreted the message. And that
Yeah.
is the message that they needed to be the trigger to allow them to do something else. So many times, uh, I'm sure you travel a lot, and as you say, you're not going to keep your mouth shut, and you're always in conversation,
No.
as I am. And this one time, I had left my home. Someone was staying with me and was making my home intolerable for me to be there, and so I left. And I happened to be at a hamburger place, and I thought, well, shucks, I never eat here, but I'm just going to order a hamburger. And I ordered it and sat down. And then they called my order. And this man got up and went to get my order. And I'm going, I think that one is mine. And he says, yes, you're right. Well, we sat down together. And over the next hour, he was giving me all this information about himself. And we were just casually talking because that's what I do. I am a life coach. And when he got up, he said, you have given me so much insight. And I have been struggling with this problem for months. And he thanked me. And I'm going, okay. That wasn't my intent. But my intent was to listen attentively, actively engage, and be kind with my words. Changed his life.
Yeah. And you never know. Many, many times also, even if it's casual, maybe you're not going to see that person ever again.
And I never
You
have.
No, and you give something, and when they are answering and there's a casual conversation, you are getting something out of that too, because it's an exchange of energy. It's beautiful. And we are not here to be separate beings. We are not separate,
Not
right?
at all.
No,
No.
we are connected. So it's basically when you talk to someone you don't know and you just maybe for 5 minutes or 1 minute, whatever it takes, or 10 minutes, it's like you say to them, I see you.
That's right.
And then
And
they see you.
yes, and the key is when you get to a point in your life where you start living authentically and you become very implicit with your words and are not, you don't have an agenda to go and disrupt or change somebody's life. You're just there exchanging information. And when you come into a conversation with that clarity and purity of heart, the universe can use you to get the message to that person. But that's not the intent of the casual conversation. The intent of is to communicate with another person.
Yeah.
And uh, I have heard many times where professional people have said, I was just walking down the road and my friend happened to say, there again, we're going to just say the sky is blue. And all of a sudden, he was able to think about this great project he was working on. And there are times, too, where they have said in casual conversation over playing pool, this stranger said, the sky is blue. And it was very profound. So it's the beauty that individuals are there to deliver maybe a message that we're not able to see. But there again, you have to use discernment, because just asking everybody for their opinion and not having one of your own, that is not what we're promoting here.
No, not at all. It's very, very different. And opinions are opinions, right? Opinions are something we think we know. We
Yeah,
we built up an opinion or multiple opinions out of our experiences. It doesn't mean that opinions are true, but it's
exactly.
our way of seeing things, many times, right? So
Yes,
that's very, very different. When we need to make decisions, it's better if we can see things from a broader perspective rather than only going by our own past experience and opinions,
yeah.
right?
But when we get back to basically Um, we're talking about that conversation that comes up that wasn't, gee, we're going to sit down and we'll meet for lunch. We'll discuss this or something. It is random. And that is the beauty of the more truthfulness that comes from the synchronicity of a word or two that is said. Those are the ones that are the jewel. It's not just sitting there listening to them run on to a lot of dialogue. And that's why the casual conversations, when you're running around trying to get things done and nothing seems to be working, and the person you're working with just happens to say, um, I'm going to the zoo, and all of a sudden that has some meaning to you. I'm
Yeah.
using very random words, but it's those, I think, that we're speaking mostly about today. It's not someone trying to come and control your life or lead you or direct you. It is just that, where did that come from?
Yeah.
And those are the ones that if we are attuned, we'll hear, you know.
Yeah. I had some encounters in my life, and I remember one, and I can swear that was from a higher being talking through
Always,
this
always.
person.
Yes.
Um, because there was an older man in the subway, and I had a sewing machine, and I was taking it from my station to my mom in town, right? I was outside of town. And I think I needed to change the sub at some point, and I think I did, but that was coming close by into the city. And there was this man. He had curly hair. He basically looked like an angel. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
He was playing, I don't know the English word, clarinet. It's when you
Yes,
you say
clarinet. Yes.
yeah. And he had it in a bag, and he was going somewhere to play. And we talked about I've never seen him before that. We talked about very um, peaceful things like his family and my family and where he was going, where I was going. And when he stepped off the subway a couple of stations before me, and this was maybe 20 years ago, something, and he turned around and looked at me and he said, well, you can reach out to the enlightened people. Oh, that's not something one says, right?
Exactly.
But he touched me. He touched my heart.
Exactly. And he probably was not really aware that he was hearing that and saying that, because had he been on a mission to overwhelm your mind and say, you've got to be talking to these people, da, 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 that's what the conversation would have been about. But
Yeah,
that is the casual conversation we're speaking of. That one or two words, that one little phrase that even after you've been talking about all of the mundane things, and that
yeah,
one little conversation. And there's been times when I've been in a situation and been compelled to just say to a person, you're valuable, you're safe. And I don't know this person. And they're not in a stressful situation. But I'm given this information to pass on. And it's not like thought about. I'm not watching that person go, oh, I got to go give her some advice. I'm this great, sage, and I have all this stuff to say and everything else. No, it. I'll be walking by, and I would just, maybe, depending on the situation, if I touch them or not, and I'll just say, "You're okay," and then I'll just go on my merry way. These are the beautiful tidbits
yeah,
that come from that casual encounter, that are there to just say, oh, turn right. Oh, turn left. Oh, sit down. Cover your head. These are just, it's, randomly in our conversation, something that they may need is given to them, but it
Yeah,
was not our
exactly.
intent. Yeah.
Mm. I actually had someone around a year ago coming to me, saying something like, I don't remember it like I remember the first one I talked about,
Yeah.
but saying something in the words of, you're on track, something of that nature, right?
Yes.
You're doing the right thing, and I've never seen this person before. So that's also, when we are receiving a message, because he
Yes.
didn't know me.
Exactly. And this is this is why when you are speaking with someone and you are being mindful that you're in conversation and you're not just putting the emojis into the into the calculator, um, and being in the present moment at the time that we are at a critical juncture in our life, and and we seem to have a lot of those, especially lately, but they are there to kind of shake us and wake us up and say, hey, did you see the slow down sign? Did you see the turn left? Did you see, just kind of slowing us down so we pause enough to go, oh, and catch our breath.
Exactly, because when we are running 100 kilometers forward, we're not going to see things that are
Exactly.
happening. We need to be here, actually. And it is extremely inspiring when someone you don't know says something to you.
Yes.
It is. Yeah.
And we have done shows on the impact of just that kind word, and with no agenda of being paid for it or being rewarded or even thought as being well inspiring. It just, it's the right thing to say. It's may I be of service to someone that's struggling getting through a door. It's not can I help you, because I'm not going to infer that that person can't do what they're going to do, but I'm saying may I be of service.
Yeah.
And or just that smile, just saying I see you. And I loved your article when you said I see me and therefore I can see you. And without knowing yourself, you're you do not have the ability to see someone else.
No. Because you think you see them, but there's a lot of other things going on
Yeah.
that are framing that you see the real version of them, right? So
Yes.
that's different. Yeah, that's different.
And I was using that expression I see you long before Avatar came out. And then when Avatar came out, I'm going, yes, they finally got the thing. I can remember as a child trying to comprehend love, divine love, universal love. And it left me a little dumbfounded, because this personage that was supposed to love us so much, God, that just kind of tortures us all along. I mean, everything's going good and then whammo and stuff like that. I couldn't understand how there could be unconditional love if there was an agenda. If you didn't do this, this was going to happen. If you didn't do this and everything else. So my whole entire life, hearing the word love didn't really have meaning because it's misused.
Yeah.
I love my car. I love my dog. I love that food. And the beauty is that if you really go back to the scriptures in the original language, and I think a lot of it was in Greece. The ancient language has a way to say, I love you as a friend, I love you as my father, I love you as my sister, mother, so forth. I love you as a teacher, I love you as a companion, I love you as a lover. There is a different word used. So you
Yeah,
know that it isn't just this LOVE that really has lost its meaning. And
yeah, it has. And unconditional love is something great. It means that you don't try to change the other person. You say, I accept you. I see you. I accept you just the way you are. Maybe that will mean that we are not in alignment with everyone, but that's fine too. We
that's
don't
right.
try to change them. That's still unconditional love, right?
Yes. And everybody has personality, everybody has behavior, and that's not what we're loving. We're loving the fact that at a core level, at a soul level,
Yeah.
that we can see them.
Yes, exactly. And it's also going way beyond the kind of romantic relationship where we say, I can't live without this person. That is
Oh, jeez.
neediness. And we did a show about neediness
Oh,
because
man.
when we love ourselves and when we feel comfortable in our own skin, in the versions we are here walking this earth, you don't ever need anyone else. And no one else can fulfill that void within you, right? It's
Yes,
something you have to do for yourself. And then you also attract people who are more likely to be um, having the personality, having the manners, having whatever you are really wanting to have in your life because you need to be that first, right?
correct. And we always kind of slip back into the self love.
Yeah,
And
always.
and it is not as easy as it seems. However, the more that you practice it, the more that you find that you are authentic, that you speak impeccably, that you begin to treat others with that kind of respect, not thinking that you're better than or that they need your information. But there again, learning the words to use in that conversation. Uh, and not everybody is going to take that kind of time. However, when you are in a situation, let's say in an airport, and everything is going hither, there, and yon, and you strike up a conversation with a person you'll never see again. Maybe there was one bit of information you needed, but maybe there was a bit of information they needed.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
and trying to go, okay, should I say this to him or should I? Because I have many times there been drawn and seen the person. I go, I don't know why I need to speak to that person, but I need to say something.
Yeah.
And uh, but
You know,
we,
having the courage, and I just went through this because I just traveled Monday, came
yes,
here to Greece again, right? Um, yeah, I made a friend already in the airport of Stockholm,
of course,
uh, and we were going with the same airplane. We weren't sitting together with each other, but we talked, and I made quite a few connections. And the other time when I traveled from Greece back to Rhodes, actually, because I still need a little bit of assistance. I'm not very good at stairs yet. I'm going to work on that part. I'm working hard on it, but I'm way better because of my leg, right?
yes,
I saw someone that helped me the other time, so we had a chat too, and just to see, when people see that they are acknowledged, to see the happiness and joy in them, that's beautiful.
exactly. And we all are bumping down this road, and the beauty is that there you, as you said, when you need to either have physical assistance or just a smile or just an acknowledgement that you're there. I mean, we're living in a world now where because it has a machine between you and the other person, people seem to think that their opinion is something that needs to be shared. And there's no responsibility for it. When you're one to one and having that encounter, you're more in tune to the divine timing, the divine words, and
Yeah.
and just out of love, out of love.
Exactly. And sometimes it's just you say hi to someone and you give them a smile. That's it. Maybe they needed that one, right?
Exactly. Yes. And but as we go through learning how to be the best version that we can be, when we live that way, when we are going through our own personal stuff with big letters spelled differently, uh, it's wonderful to just have somebody acknowledge even that you're alive.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
say, nod, say and smile, and just acknowledge that you are still doing what you need to do every single day. That can go a long way, and especially with I'm finding now that I have joined the ranks of the older people.
No,
uh
you're not.
there really is an unconscious discrimination, and they assume that because maybe you're hearing, I often say, excuse me, I got to turn my hearing aid up, uh, or something like that. They assume that because I may have a challenge with them whispering to me or speaking away from me, that my mind is gone. And little do they know. I mean, I could sit down and tongue tie their brain really fast with what goes on in my brain. So making those assumptions, like when you're struggling going up and down the steps, well, she doesn't take care of herself. And these are people do make these assumptions, but the
Yeah,
beauty
they do.
is that when these casual conversations happen, and especially when you're going through something, pay attention. And I think you said that about paying attention.
Yeah,
Uh,
paying attention.
yeah, I mean, maybe this person in their random speaking is talking about something, and all of a sudden they happen to drop the fact that that particular business is looking for something that you do, and that wasn't the intent at all. And you go, oh, I didn't know they were hiring, and you have a job opportunity, uh, or
Yeah,
or or listening to the comments about somebody's doctor. You're not looking for a doctor, but then 2 weeks later, you happen to have a situation and you go, oh, I happen to remember that they said such and such. This is the beauty. This is the beauty.
yeah. I actually had a very casual conversation with someone bringing um, things to uh, because there's a mall where I live in Sweden, right? I just basically live on top of it. So they are bringing stuff for the shops and everything. And there's this guy. Um, I've seen him quite a few times. So he's always saying hello. And he asked me, "How's your leg?" And I say, "I'm much better." Um, and he said, "I have a problem with my knee, and I think I need a surgery, but I'm pushing it forward. I'm afraid of doing it." So I could tell him that's my experience. And I said, it's only my experience, but my experience is that this hospital in Stockholm, they are the best.
Uh-huh.
So if your doctor is going to send you there, you can trust them. Look what they did for me.
Yeah,
And he said, okay, I'm going to go to my doctor and I'm going to talk to him again. Maybe he needed to hear that, having some, but it's his decision still, right? And I
correct.
think many times when we talk to people, I do encounter that. When people they said, this is my experience, you should do that. And if you don't do that, they get a little bit angry and annoyed because
Oh,
they think you don't listen to them. But we also need to remember we have free will here. It's
exactly.
everybody's choice. We can only share something that can maybe open up a path for someone, right?
Yes,
And even if we are spiritual beings here, having a human experience, we do need sometimes the real hands-on physical doctor's treatment,
yes,
right? Or
and
surgery or whatever it is.
and bless them. When they whap in two new teeth for you, and you go, oh wow, this is amazing, because I've really gotten kind of fond of eating. I really do enjoy that, and so so we bless them because their information also came from the divine, and the
And
information that we have, that we're given, but it's how people use it and interpret it. So it's not technology is bad, science is bad, this is bad. No, it's like anything else. A gun is a gun. In the right hands, it can provide food. In the wrong hands, it can cause devastation. So the tools that we are given are the tools and the information. It's the individual that turns them into, you know.
e- exactly. And I always state that I love technology because I do, but
Yes,
I am in charge. I decide when, where, and what to use. I'm in
exactly.
charge.
Exactly.
I'm not going to be a slave to it, right? Like going down to the metro or the subway and looking at my phone all the time because I'm out. There's a lot of people. It's a bunch of people there, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And reconnecting, it is amazing that actually through humanity is a far greater connection to the divine than any mechanical tool that we may have. So having these encounters with people, and also just allowing conversation to flow, instead of all of a sudden go, well, I really should say this or I really should say that. Just let it happen. And
Yeah,
then it becomes that sharing of information that is vital instead of your
exactly.
programming.
Yeah, exactly. And in my life, I can share some funny personal story because I listen to what everyone says and then I determine, is that something for me or is it not, right?
Correct.
Many people in my life, they didn't think that that was a good idea. So I always had people telling me that you never listen. Uh, Whatever I'm going to tell you, you're going to do it your way anyway. Yes, I said, that's
I hope
correct.
so.
And that's
I
how
hope. Yeah.
that's that's how it's supposed to be, right?
Yes.
So we don't need to have grudges if someone is not going to follow an advice of ours, right? Because they are their own in their own power. They have the right to decide. That is free will.
Exactly. And uh, I love the way that you have this being able to embrace the potential, our own potential, uh, through the casual conversations, and uh, the way that you interpret information. I'm always amazed how we can be talking about the same thing, and yet if somebody were reading the notes, they would go, well, these two people must not have gotten the same information, because it's written so differently and it's interpreted so differently. And that is the uniqueness and beauty of encountering life, is that these little bits of perspective from here and there and here and there are going to allow you to create something that is personally your own.
Exactly. And because we are all unique, we all have our own way of doing things, right? But
Correct.
there's many assumptions that we are supposed to follow a certain path or someone else's experience or opinion and whatever. And when
Correct.
we don't do that, we're going to hear about it, right? And I've done
Yes.
that a lot. And I call myself always, I'm making it kind of in a funny way. I am stubborn. Yeah, I am. But I think I have the right to be. I have the right to choose my path, right? Like just like everybody else.
Exactly. And uh, I feel that as we work on ourselves, as we become authentic, and we look for that authenticity in other people, it improves our integrity. It improves our ability to not get in the way. Um, all these years that I have been doing uh, off world work with people, I call it, and I will be getting messages. And I think the reason people will say, well, why is it so easy for you? And I think the reason is that the messages don't have to go through my dogma, go through my interpretation of things, go through my prejudice of things. It's as if like we're talking and nothing is filtering the words that we're saying. They're coming out true. And that person can interpret them any way that they choose. So there again, getting back to your authenticity
Yeah.
and being around people. But there, as I said, those complete strangers that just say, you're going to be okay, or you're working
Yeah.
with a higher self. And you look at them and go, where did that come from? Uh, completely out of the blue. And these I think are the casual conversations that are there to give us that critical information when we're going through something. It's not just going and talking to everybody and hoping that randomly something will come out of it. So it's those chance encounters I think that are so marvelous.
Yeah, they are marvelous. And you talked about embracing the potential of this, right? To harness the potential of casual conversations at critical junctures, there are a few things one can pay attention to, right?
Uh-huh.
So, remaining open and attentive, right? Both what we are saying, how we express it. Sometimes we just blur out something that someone needs to hear because it's coming like a guidance. That's
Right.
different, right? You can be present, engage in the conversation, even if it's just 30 seconds, whatever, right?
Yes.
Showing yourself to have genuine interest in the other person and, what you're saying and what they are telling you. Listen actively. Pay attention to the nuances of the conversation and what you feel, not about what you maybe necessarily your opinions are about something, but be open-minded, right?
Yes. Yes.
Share thoughtfully so you can contribute meaningfully to the discussion, offering your insights and experiences, but not demanding someone else to follow them through because they are unique. You can share, if you share something from you and your experiences, it may actually be something that it puts them on a path that they start to consider. Maybe they are hearing 10 different people's opinions and experiences, right? And then
Right.
they have a bigger perspective and they can pick and choose. So that's beautiful. Be curious. Don't think
Always.
that no, that person wouldn't be interested in talking to me. Why not? You can't know that. Have courage, be bold, talk,
Oh, yes.
connect.
Yes, the courage and the boldness. And I think you and I kind of got big doses of that. Uh, and thank goodness, because uh, that. that has gotten through me through so many things, like saying yes that I would do this show. It was like I had no control over that word coming out of my mouth at that time, and
I'm so
I
happy
was
for that.
I was being divinely guided with the conversations that were saying, "Go on, you can do this," you know, and uh, but having that self confidence of not that you're going to be the best or you're going to succeed or any of those don't go through your mind. Just taking the first step and allowing for the possibilities. And I was curious. I was very curious as to whether, you know, this is something that I would be interested in. And I am so grateful for this opportunity. So,
I'm so happy that we are doing this together because it's a bliss. It's
yes,
wonderful. It's fun. It's hopefully we can inspire people, and I think we do. Um, it's absolutely wonderful, and we just need to step out there and do something and talk about
yes,
things. And sharing also personal perspectives can bring different angles to things because each, as I said before, we are all unique. We come from different experiences, but we can, when we are opening up our world, seeing and hearing things, talking about things, having conversations or listening to things, that brings us different perspectives. That's why I love us coming from different angles.
yes. And
It's rich.
it is. And the beauty is, I feel on a personal note that had I ever sat in on people sitting around having conversations like ours, there is so much I could have gleaned from the information and going, well, that might work for me. This is an avenue that I hadn't ever seen before. And the fact that nobody is shoving it down my throat. That's where my stubbornness comes in. Because if you tell me I have to, or that's the only way, I will run away. I
Mm, you're
I
not
just
alone. Me too. And I would actually say, says who?
yeah, I decided I wanted to cover my patio, and uh, I do have a little bit of engineering in my DNA, and also I have made clothes, and you follow a pattern, and you know what you need to do. So I decided that I needed this many 2x4s, this many this many that, and things to attach and cement the poles in. I had already planned all this, so I go down to the lumber yard and I say, this is what I need. And the guy looks at me and says, "Oh, what are you building?" And the only thing he didn't say, which I probably would have hit him, was "little lady," adding that to it. But he says, "So what are you building?" I said, "Well, I'm going to cover my patio." "Well, who's doing it for you?" I said, "I'm doing it." He says, "You can't do that." And I said,
Oh my goodness.
"Why not?" You know, and I did everything with the exception of putting some really the big boards, getting them onto the roof and the roofing material because it was heavy. I had someone get that up the ladder, but I did everything else. I built
Yeah.
it, I sealed it, and I tell you, my roof did not leak. My roof held up against the wind, while my other roof kind of blew away that somebody else had built. That was funny.
Yeah.
But
Sorry, go ahead.
no,
Sorry.
no, I was done. Yeah,
I did something similar because I'm like you. If someone can do it, I probably can figure out a way doing it.
that's
Yeah, of
right.
course, I'm a woman. I don't have the male strength, the muscles, but I can use my head and I can do it. So at one point, quite a few years ago, actually, I had to change some cupboards hanging on the wall with mirrors on in the bathroom, right? So
Yeah,
I had one, I took it down and I bought two ones and I measured them before I bought them so I knew they would fit in. But I was thinking, okay, how can I do this? Because you usually need an extra pair of arms, right?
Exactly.
But I figured it out. I started with one hole in the wall. Started with that. I had this thing that measures if it's
Right.
the angle of it, and I put up the other one. And the second cupboard was so easy because I could lean on the first one. But I used my body, and I had a those things you when you want to go up.
The
Um,
step
what do
ladder,
you
yeah.
call that? A ladder. Yeah, a small one for inside the house. But I did it, and then I had people asking me, "Who helped you with this?" I said, "No one. I did it myself."
I know. And we have to, I have to figure out how I can work all the angles and I can get it up the easiest way I can. But that's just a different approach. That's a different perspective. That's a different way of getting the same job done. That doesn't mean that I can't do that particular job. And
Exactly.
I don't know how we got on that subject, but
I think it's about opinions, others' opinions and assumptions when they tell you that you're a woman or you're a male and you can't do that. It's the same for male, but
Exactly.
maybe different stories, right?
Yeah.
If someone can do it, everybody can do it if we feel for that we can do it, right?
Yes, and I mean, also men get that assumption too. Well, you can't be a good caretaker because you're not gentle. Well, a real man that knows how to control his strength, that takes a lot of courage and a lot of intensity to not just bowl through. But there's nothing that we can't share or do, and having the courage to just say, yeah, let me find out just how far I can go with this. So
Yeah, yeah. And for instance, I want to come back to the conversation as well because I love the
please.
fact that we are kind of expanding it all the time. But
Yes.
one thing leads to another, and everything is connected. We always say that.
Yes.
So some examples of impactful casual conversations, right? Career advancement, a casual conversation at a networking event may
Absolutely.
have led to a mentorship that significantly impacted a person's career, right? Um, Personal growth, a chance encounter with a fellow traveler. I
Yes.
just traveled, sparked a conversation that inspired a journey to self-discovery and personal growth, right?
Yes.
A casual chat with a colleague over lunch resulted in a collaborative project that brought about innovative solutions to a problem. Yeah, because you never know. You can't ever say that I'm not going to say anything because that person is not going to know because you don't know, right? And
Exactly.
I I had to promote the Greek style because they talk to everybody, and I probably took that on to myself as well because I'm talking to everybody. I have no trouble. But sometimes it's a cultural thing, and there are cultures in this world that I know. I have friends in Sweden, and I say to them, they speak your language. No, I don't want to reveal that I'm from that country because they are suspicious of each other, right?
Yes.
Somehow. And that's I feel for them, but I'm still not going to push them. But I keep on doing it. I say, hey, they talk your language. Go there, talk to them.
Exactly. Exactly. And uh, I just got this vision of us being in a situation, and I can handle all the people that speak just one language, and you are over there speaking all these different languages. And I'm going, oh boy, she can get into a lot more mischief by being able to speak all those different languages. And
But on another note, yeah, I speak three languages: Swedish, um my native language, and Greek and English, of course.
yes,
But everybody speaks English nowadays, so
well, not the Americans. I tell you, I have conversations with some of the people that live here, and you're going. uh, are you even making any kind of a headway to finish the sentence that you started? And is it, it's interesting because there again, when you're not learning something, or you kind of take it so casually that you all of a sudden aren't speaking the same language.
Exactly. Actually, at the airport in Athens, because I changed flight in Athens, so I had some time, quite a long time. So I met a lady from Mexico in Athens. So we were talking for half an hour. She was there with her daughter. She was around my age, I think. They came from Los Angeles, but she says I'm a Mexican.
Yeah,
And that was so nice. First time for them in Greece, and they had been in Athens for 3 days. I just love meeting people from all over the globe.
it is. It gives, there again, basically everyone is the same, but we see things so differently, and isn't it beautiful? It's like I would really hate to eat the same food every single day. I love this banquet of all different cultures and kinds, and uh, seeing how people respond in different ways. And this is the beauty of the human experience.
It is the beauty. It's wonderful. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm just going to mention something. We are streaming actually on Facebook. I
Wow.
think I said that, but I'm not sure. But it's not coming up the usual way. But I did share something there so people can find it. So now it seems like we are streaming in different places, even if it's one place. But we are on YouTube as well. So I put it all up there for everybody. But I think that it's for me, talking to people, meeting others in this way, it's like the icing on the cake,
Yes.
in life, to be able to connect, even if it's just for a brief moment in time. That's fine. That's perfect.
Yes. And I love the way that you talk about, being aware, being mindful of uh, of the situation, and just being in the present moment.
Yeah,
That is really key, because you're not thinking about what's going to happen, and you're not thinking about what already happened. You're just enjoying that moment. And these are the only moments that we really have. I can't relive
I'm
my past, and I don't want to. And
no.
I'm not in the future yet. Well, wait a minute. I
I'm,
I am now, because we moved into the future. Yeah, we could really get mind-boggling here. Yes.
yeah. But I'm going to pop a joke as well because we talked about assumptions, right? We always talk about assumptions, what people assume. And because I'm from Sweden, I'm blonde, I have blue eyes, easy to catch, right? So
Yes.
I appreciate being a little bit more mature because they don't approach me this way any longer. And if
Yes.
they dare to do, I know how to put them in place
Yes.
because the assumption is like, okay, Swedish ladies are naive. You can just manipulate them wherever you can come close and you can try that one.
Yes. Ah, but isn't it beautiful when we break the assumptions? And
Yeah,
and
it
and
is.
and, and that uh, the shock and awe when we don't respond the way they think we're going to respond. And
I
it
I love
yes,
that. I love
yes,
that. So I'm kind of that person who I can't do. I don't have the strength of a man. So sometimes, yeah, I have to ask for help, right? But I just love when I see people's faces sometimes when they ask me, "Do you want help?" No, just give me the drill. I fix it.
yes. Well, and I also love the fact that I meet a lot of beautiful people when I allow myself to seek for assistance. And there'll be times where, I mean, in my youth, I could pick up 60 pounds and throw it around. Now, it's not quite as easy. So I find that when like I'm in the grocery store, and I have no qualms about saying, "May I borrow your strength?" You know, could you
Yes,
could you put this in here for me, or may I borrow your height? Can you reach that on the top shelf for me? And people are really genuinely acceptable to that if you approach it in the same way. If you don't just stand there stubbornly, well, you're supposed to know this. No, communicate. And
communicate.
and I get such a smile out of them when I do ask them for assistance, and
Yeah.
uh, and I offer assistance when I can.
Yeah.
So I have no qualms about that.
So it's one other funny story from the airport because I asked for assistance because I can't really take the stairs, and I had 4 hours in Athens. In Sweden, it's a long way to walk, so I had help with a wheelchair as well. I don't have my own anymore because I
Yes,
can walk, but I needed that in that place, and they assumed because I needed a wheelchair that I can't move around in the wheelchair, and I said, guys. I have a driver's license for this one. I was kidding.
exactly.
So
You
I
know,
can actually move around here. They were afraid that I was going to hurt myself or I couldn't take myself from A to B or whatever. But I said,
exactly.
I'm not going to sit here in the same spot for 4 hours. So I'm going to move around here. If I need your help, I come and ask for it. So,
And that's the beauty. Um, but always just remember being true to yourself. And if you're having a conversation with someone, uh, let it be guided by divine inspiration rather than your agenda. Uh, don't be so cautious that you don't speak to someone, because maybe that stranger needs to have that little encouragement. Just
yes,
allow all of this to flow and trust the
yes,
process.
trust the process. And what we say and the conversations and words. Words are not just a means of communication, right? They are instruments. We can see them as instruments of
Mhm.
influence, connection, transformation, brighten someone's day, you know, sharing things. By expressing ourselves thoughtfully and authentically, sorry, I was stumbling on the words. We can harness the power of words to make a meaningful impact on ourselves and others. And that's basically conversations, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. And how many times have you maybe been in conversation with someone and you got your own insight and you go,
Yeah,
darn, why didn't I think about that? So they again are an instrument in your empowerment as you are in their empowerment. But each time that we interact with another human lovingly, we are building the tapestry of this pure human.
yeah, we are. That's beautiful. By the way, Greg Braden have written a book, right, called Pure Human.
Yeah, no doubt, right? I mean, but it is true. It is true, and uh, so scarily true that when you see a person like Bill Gates, whom my opinions are my opinions, states that within 10 years there will be no more pure humans, and he is looking forward to that, and everything else, and then understanding that so many things have been set in place to actually um, dehumanize humans. So this is a whole nother subject, but
Yeah.
Be human. Be pure human.
Yeah. And it's we are divine beings, divine creatures, and we have so many capabilities and possibilities and talents and gifts and you name it that
Right.
we probably never use, right? Because we use just a fraction of what we can. So expand yourselves. Don't be
Expand.
afraid of meeting each other and having casual conversations is one way to expand, to
Very much
meet
so.
others. Yeah,
Very much so. Because
talk
in
to them.
isolation, uh, even if you're growing plants, if you isolate them, they don't get the nourishment that they need if they were with a companion. Uh, when you're raising chickens, you don't get one chicken; it'll die because it needs to be in a flock. It needs to have other chickens around it. And we are individuals, unique individuals, but we are not disconnected.
No.
So,
So people who feel that they are very, very lonely, um, there's a great deal of sadness for them because they are disconnected from others. So we need each other.
we
We
do.
do.
We
Talk
do.
to each other, meet each other, look into someone else's eyes, give a
Yeah.
smile,
Be the
say
smile.
hi,
Right. Correct.
or
Oh,
say if you need help, don't hesitate. Just say, can I please get a hand here in
that's
a nice
right.
way? Yeah,
Yes. Because honest to goodness, not everybody is telepathic, so they can't read your mind, you know?
no. We assume that they can, but they can't. And I have
Yeah.
to tell something, someone like me, and sometimes people think that, okay, they don't need to say everything, express everything, because I'm going to know anyway. But I say, yeah, well, I know I can pick up things and I sense things, and I'm very good at that. But I'm not going to do that in personal relationships. I'm not
Uh-uh.
going to read you.
No.
I want you to say what you want. What do you want? Right?
Exactly. Exactly. So there again, being having the courage to ask for what we would like to happen. Whether we get it or not is another thing, but at least we've expressed it.
Yes, we
And
did.
yes.
Yeah. So, do you think that we came to the end of this show today?
Well, somehow I feel we came to the end of that, quite a while back because all this other information. But however, how do we know that what we said in the last part of our conversation wasn't something that someone was waiting for all their life? So
Exactly.
if it was said with love, then maybe there is someone that's going to glean one bit of information from 3 or 4 words that we said and make a positive life change in their life. So that is beautiful.
Yes. That is absolutely stunning. It's fantastic. It's a
Yes.
bliss. It's a gift. It's wonderful. So, thank you, everybody. You have been watching Cosmic Sister Show with Corinne and Anne, discussing casual conversation and critical juncture. You can find all past episodes at angelplaceonearth.com/upcoming dash past. Our next upcoming show on with Cosmic Sis-Stars, me and Corinne, will be next Wednesday, April 9th. And we will talk about authenticity meets compliance. That's interesting too. Am
Yes.
I adapting too much, right? So we go live for you every Wednesday, and you can connect with us, find upcoming shows, past episodes, articles, much more. Connect with Corinne and me and at angelplaceonearth.com/cosmic guardians, and again past episodes and upcoming at angelplaceonearth.com/upcoming dash past. And let's say thank you for watching us tonight. And
Yes.
we are really enjoying spending time with you all. And I say love, life, peace, and joy to everyone.
Love, life, peace, and
What do you
joy, and laughter.
Yes. Bye.
Bye bye.